Rene Descartes, a famous psychologist, said, "I think, therefore I am." I prefer the Buddhist version of the saying, which is, "I breathe, therefore I am." From the moment I took my first breath, and it was determined that I was of the female gender, I was determined to have the name Magdalena being named after my grandmother's. My name is Madeline Manus, and I was born on June 5th to Italian Americans. Like most immigrants to our country at that time, my grandparents came through Ellis Island, and with a name like Martorella, you can tell that this is definitely an authentic Italian name and not something that was taken off of a box top. The family customs carried on within our family. My parents were very strict. My mother stayed home and took care of all the household and family responsibilities. My father took over his family business that my grandfather started in the 1900s, and we were well provided for. I remember when our family acquired the first color TV. It seemed like I had friends coming out of the woodwork. Everyone wanted to see it. I attended St. Anthony of Padua Catholic School, and in my summers I spent on the Great South Bay boating, fishing, clamming, and lots of water sports and activities. I have to admit that I was definitely a spoiled child, but I was definitely not a brat. Like most women, I prefer not to say my age, but if you are up on history or a historian, I'll give you some hints and you can determine how old I am. I remember watching Neil Armstrong take the first walk on the moon. I saw the Beatles come from Liverpool, England to Idlewild Airport, now known as John F. Kennedy Airport. I watched the assassination of John F. Kennedy. I remember youth of my era, dodging the draft and going to Canada. I lived through the blackout in New York. I saw the Verrazano Bridge be built, and I also woke up on my 13th birthday to hear the news that Bobby Kennedy had just been shot. I am an old hippie at heart. I grew up in the era of make love, not war, peace, watch the American flag be burned, remember Woodstock, and all of the rebellious acts of that era. Being born in New York, I had the opportunity of seeing many famous places of the city. I remember visiting the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, Pennsylvania Station, Radio City Music Hall and the famous Rockettes, went to the Automatic Cafe, and of course, I had the opportunity of shopping in the real Tiffany's. Shopping on Fifth Avenue was wonderful. One of my most fondest memories of being in New York was around the month of December, when you could smell the chestnuts being roasted by the street vendors and seeing Best & Company, which before was now owned by Onassis, in Rockefeller Center, lit up beautifully. It is like the Disneyland of New York. On my 15th birthday, I spent sitting in a hospital bed enjoying strawberry shortcake and feeding it to my mother. It was a custom in our household that my mother would purchase strawberry shortcake for my birthday every year. This year, I was being sure that she had strawberry shortcake. 11 days later, she became an angel. She was only 36 years old. This is when my life really started to take off. As most youth at age 15, when my mom passed away, I moved to Florida to begin my life. I attended Sharon Williams College, where I studied lab technician and with 4 months left to go, decided that this was not the profession I wanted to be in. I went to Prospect Hall College, which at that time was located off Las Olas Boulevard in a small, quaint house off the water, and acquired my degree in business administration. As far as employment goes, I guess you could say that I've been a jack of all trades. I've been a phlebotomist, a waitress, a cashier, a bookkeeper, a receptionist, an office manager, and presently an administrative assistant. I worked at the First Christian Church in Fort Lauderdale for 17 years. It was during this time that I made some real life changes. This is when I learned to find the mind-body connection. Besides all the events that have happened in my life, the most memorable are the births of my 3 daughters, Loopy, Amber, and Christina, my 3 grandchildren, Raymond, Reed, and Rachel, a beautiful wedding, and going back to school. There is one memory in my life that I will always remember. As a little girl, I dreamed of going to Paris. Of course, this was just a dream, since in reality, I would never be able to afford to go. While working as a receptionist at Nova Southeastern University's travel agency, I had the opportunity to go to Paris. At the Christmas party, my name was drawn out of the hat, and I won 2 international tickets to anywhere, fully paid. I immediately sat down at the computer and started contacting hotels in Paris, and was fortunate enough to be able to stay at the same hotel that Charles de Gaulle spent his honeymoon night at. This was all expenses paid too. From the travel agency, I was applying for jobs over at Nova, where I was fortunate to be hired by Dr. Donald Anderson. During this time, Dr. Anderson showed me many things about the field of dentistry and where dentistry is going. Not only did I learn about dentistry, but I found in this person a man that showed me real people, genuine people, still exist. It is because of him I've been given many wonderful opportunities. I've recently finished The Biggest Loser at Nova. I was fortunate to be picked as one of the contestants. Again, I find that my life is in a period of construction. But it is a good period of construction because along with improving my body and healthy lifestyles, I've given the opportunity to attend classes in psychology. Hopefully in 2011, I will graduate with my bachelor's degree. I've learned in life that in order to live, you have to really love life. You have to grasp the moments that are at hand and make memories. Life is about touching people's hearts. Doesn't matter what you accomplish in life, if you do not have the respect and the love of the people around you, then you have gained nothing. I may never be a wealthy person, but I am determined that I will be rich. It all depends on how you define your riches. I breathe, therefore I am.